Time for a new deathmatch. Who we got up this week? Well, in the slightly lighter colour grey corner we have the Lord of Tubes himself, the Burrower, currently languishing at 0 wins, so hoping to get his first victory today. So we'll just put that fella down there, his home turf, the Canyons. Whereas he's someone else, but only 1 win, but here we go, the Ancient One. Experience presumably comes with age. Is experience going to be the thing that gets him the win today? Coming from outer space, allegedly, to fight our Burrower. So let's have a quick look. There you go, there is the Burrower, and there is the Ancient One on the brutal sides. So the Burrower also starts with peril dice tentacles, so let's get those out, which start in ambush. So let's give myself 4 of these little tentacles standing around the Ancient One. And as the fight progresses, as we recall from previous fights, the more and more tentacles keep coming out from the Burrower. And basically that kind of spam has not been enough to get around the previous enemies. And one of the reasons why that is because the Burrower actually has very low hit points for a double XL. It's only got 45 hit points, whereas the Ancient One's got 85 hit points. So even with those tentacles, there's quite a mountain of hit points to get through there on the Ancient One. Just looking through their sheets, what else do we see? The Burrower only has endurance 5, whereas the Ancient One has endurance 4. So the Burrower can, in theory, take 1 more damage per hit. The Ancient One only deals 5 so it's peril dice, so it's got 5 combat peril dice damage, so it could deal 6. So at most it's going to be dealing 3 after the defense of 3 on the Burrower. Going back the other way, the Ancient One has a defense of 3 as well, but because the Burrower's attacks are a little bit sort of random, with it sort of digging itself into the ground and then doing stuff. So just quickly going to get the tentacles sheet out. Let's have a look. Tentacles. There we go. Tentacles. And we see that the tentacles have a damage of 5. So at least they're actually going to be able to hurt the Ancient One. We're not going to be doing a lot per hit unless they get a 6, in which case we have a quick look. Is the Ancient One immune to crits? Because effectively that's what a 6 from Tentacle is, ignoring defense. And it doesn't look like it is. So maybe they'll be able to rack up some there. But the Ancient One does have this sword of his, this sword of Felgnar, which does a combat hit to attack as well. The combat to every other hero is in the same arc facing and within 3 spaces. So he's able to do like this AoE clear of the tentacles and still clip the Burrower in many cases. So I think, yeah, it's going to be the Ancient One. I'm sorry, but I can't see the Burrower getting a win out of this today. I think there's just too high a hit point total to chew through, and it's just going to get repeatedly hit with that AoE sword until it's dead. But yeah, without further ado, we can progress to the fight. No need to roll for initiative. Oh, sorry, I need to do an Ancient Doom. So the Ancient One starts with one of these Ancient Dooms. Today's Ancient Doom is Cosmic Cleansing. Perhaps man was not meant to travel through time and space, spreading through the void to distant worlds and other dimensions of reality. Once more, a time of cleansing has come. So the Ancient One is +1 combat for every 2 heroes in the posse. Well, there isn't 2 heroes. There's only 1. So, do we want to be charitable? Do we want to consider the tentacles as heroes? I suppose you would, because you do count them allies in the normal game. So let's say yes, let's say that we do. Let's count them as allies. I think that's possibly the fairest on this edge case here. So whilst the tentacles are on the board, we'll count every 3 of them as a hero. So yeah, it gets +1 combat at the moment until it kills some of those tentacles. Okay, so initiative first is going to be the tentacles because they are ambushed this turn. 4 tentacles, 3 dice each, so 12 in total. Hitting on 4 or more, 6s, ignoring defence. Right, so there's a 6, there's a 6, there's a 6. There's 4. There's 4s, 4 4s. 4 4s, 3 6s. So the 4s, their damage of 5 versus the defence of that is 3, so they're going to do 2 per, so that's 8. Okay, so that is 8 of those. And then the 6s are each going to do 5 each, so that would be 3 sets of 5, but the endurance of 4 reduces to 4, so it's 3 sets of 4, which is another 12. I think that's enough there to swap those out for a 5. So they're on 20 already. Maybe I misjudged. Maybe the ancient one's just going to get tentacled to death. So those are the tentacles going first. We then have this ancient one, and it was originally going to be targeting the Burrower, but at the start of each turn it flies, so it changes targets. So it's going to go for one of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on a D8. It goes for this tentacle, so it doesn't change facing. So its arc facing is going to get the 2 tentacles and the Burrower because they're all within 3. Doesn't move anywhere. So each of the ancient one's successful melee hit rolls as a combat hit to the target, as well as a combat hit to every other hero in the same arc facing. So we've got 5 dice plus the extra 1 because of counting the sort of tentacles as allies, shall we say. So we've got 6 dice. Hitting on 5 or more. No, hitting on 3 or more. What am I talking about? Hitting on 3 or more. So that is 5 hits. So each of these 3 models are going to take 5 hits. So 5 hits to a tentacle does effectively 5 sets of peril dice. It's got a defense of 3 and 5 health. So this sort of orangey one here, don't know if you can see, this one's a bit orange, but yeah, this one. All of those bounce off defense. Next to does 1 damage. So this sort of orangey one here, yeah, it's taking 1 damage. The other tentacle around on this side, sorry, they're all greyish because some of them are primed. Everything's a bit grey. Tell you what, let's rotate around there, and you've got a bit of a better angle. So yeah. Okay, so that's 3 to lead, and then 2 dice left. 4. So this one has taken 4. One's taken 4. And then he gets 5 peril dice of damage against the Burrower. Again, defensive 3. So that's 1. And another 3 is that's 4. 5. So the Burrower has taken 5. Okay. So that I think is it, because the Master of Reality then is the end of turn. Over to the Burrower. At the start of its activation, roll d6 on the chart below. What's the Burrower going to do? Does a 7. World Shatter. The Burrower shakes the foundation of the earth. All heroes take 2d6 from falling debris. The darkness moves 1 space forward in the depth track. So 2d6 damage to the ancient one. That's 10. It's going to be reduced to 4 because of endurance. 2, 3, 4. And that is the Burrower done. So the end of turn, we have the ancient one's Master of Reality. It's a double 1. Enter the madness. Select a random hero in free space of the ancient one to make agility 5 or more. If failed, the hero is ensnared by the ancient one's void tentacles and bombarded by individual items immediately roll on the madness table. Okay, so it turns one of them mad. Okay, we don't track madnesses and sanity for this. Right, so that was end of turn 1. Start of the next turn. At the start of each turn, if there are fewer tentacles and heroes, there aren't, so we stay as we go. This time around, the Ancient One goes first. His initiative is 4 compared to Tentacles 3, so the Ancient One goes first. Changes targets. So we were against that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the Burrower. So let's give it a go. Goes for the Burrower. So it will move to get in melee range. It pushes these out of the way to the side as it goes. Gets to within melee range, just about trying to overlap these two models. There we go, right up in each other's face. Which I think triggers tentacles, doesn't it? Heroes do not need to move. It said any time a hero enters space or starts their activation in space within 2 spaces of the Burrower, you must make an escape test against its escape roll. If failed, it takes d6 hits that do 2 damage each. Okay, so it's going to try and escape on 4 or more, the Ancient One. That was a 6, so it does. So it doesn't get caught in the Burrower's tentacles. Proceeds to attack. Only thing it's facing right now is the Burrower. So it's still 6 attacks. Like that. 5 hits once again. 5 threes. So 5 sets of peril dice against the Burrower. So that's 3, 4. That's whatever the result of these two. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 more wounds on the Burrower. Ancient One turn ends. Tentacles. Once again, 4 tentacles. So 12 attacks. Hitting on 4 or more. 6 is going through the fence. Well, that's another set of good results, isn't it? That's 6. So that's 4 6s, and then 5 the other 4 or more. So those 5 do 2 damage each. So that's 10. And those 4 do 4 each. So that's another 16. 1, 2, 3, and is that enough to tick over? Yeah, it's enough to tick over for another 5. Wow, look at that. It's absolutely battered the Ancient One. It's on 50 already. 50 damage taken. I may have miscalculated this. I may have not given the tentacles their due. They're really ripping into the Ancient One here. So, that was tentacles. The Ancient One itself does its 2d6. What's its 2d6 this time around? Its 2d6 is 12. Grinding Jaws. Select a random hero in 12 spaces of the Burrower. All heroes in that Burrower's art facing it up to 12 spaces away must pass an agility 6 on wall test or take 12 hits that do 3 damage each. Well, unfortunately, every single one of those is just going to bounce off the defence of the Ancient One. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I can see how that'd be pretty lethal potentially versus a normal posse of heroes. Right, okay, so that's end of that turn. We do the Master of the Reality for the Ancient One, which was a 7. Void form. The Ancient One shifts before your eyes, getting +1 initiative to the end of the fight. So it's now on 5. Getting worried about whether it gets ambushed. Does the Ancient One still go first? But anyway, third turn. Start with the Ancient One. Changes targets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on our tentacles. 8. So it's going to turn this way, like that, and place that way. It started its activation in the space next to tentacles though, so we need to do that agility test. We don't, so what is that? D6 hits that do 2 damage each. There's no point really worrying about that, is it? They just bounce off the arm too. Okay, so this time in the arc, it's going to have these 2 tentacles. So how many? It's got 6 attacks again. How many of these are going to hit? 3 or more. And the answer is every single one. 6 hits. Let's go for the wounded tentacle first. 1, 2, 3 wounds from those, and then another 4, 5, 6. Okay, enough. So this orange one dies. gets hit with a sword of wherever it is and dies. The other one, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, only 4, so it lives. Lucky tentacle. That one takes 4. And that's the end of the ancient ones go. Tentacles, only got 3 now, so 9 attacks. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there we go. There's a 6. There's another 6. Couple of 5s. Another 5. And those don't hit. So that is 6 from these normal hits. And then 2 sets of 4, 8 from the ones that bypass defense. So let's have a look what we're on. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 64. That was those. And the Burrower doesn't do much other than it's 2d6. What does its 2d6 say? It says 5. Burrow retreats back into the ground. At the start of its next activation, before rolling this chart, roll a random hero and place a Burrower back on the board, centre on that hero's space. Any models covered by the Burrower are immediately moved adjacent to it, and the hero's move takes d6 that do 4 damage. So it might do a little bit of damage to the Ancient One when it reappears. End of the turn, Ancient One. What's the Ancient One's Master of Reality? 3. Temporal Shift. Time ebbs at a different rate around the Ancient One. Roll 2d6 to determine how many months flash by an instant relative to the outside world. Next time the heroes travel down, each hero adds an extra travel hazard. Well, I'm sure the tentacles are going to be really worried about that. So yeah, start the next turn. Ancient One changes targets. It was going for this one, so it's going to be one of these. So odds, we'll have the orange one. Evens will have this grey one. Odds doesn't particularly matter. So yeah, the ancient one spins around like that. Does its 6 attacks still, so it's still got 3 tentacles. It's very high. 5 hits. Let's go for the wounded one first. 1, 2, 3, enough to kill it. So that's dead. How about the other one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dead. Oops. Dead. So it's killed 2 of its tentacles. So only got the 1 left. That 1 tentacle will attack. 1, 6, 1, 4. So 2 from the 4. Oops. Yeah, 2 from the 4. Like that. And then 4 from the 6. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Getting close. That's it. Burrower appears, pops up underneath. Sure, shifts that way, why not? Does, what was it? It does d6 that do 4 each. So it does 6 that do 4 each. So that's actually 6 hits. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, right, 76. Okay. So, end of the turn. What is our Master of Reality this turn? 7. Void form, +1 initiative, so it's now initiative 6. Okay. Right, so we see it's the ancient one to go first. Odds, the Burrower evens the tentacle. Evens the tentacle. How's it going to get there? I think it can only do it by pushing the Burrower back to then get there. Anyway, so either way, they're both in its frontal arc. Only 5 dice to attack this time, so we've killed enough tentacles. 5 dice, 2 hits. Go for that wounded tentacle. 1, which is enough to kill it. I think, yeah, it was on 4. So the wounded tentacle was killed. and then 2 hits on the Burrower itself is 2 damage. Okay, right, the Burrower. What does the Burrower do? It does a 4, which is Burrow, so it disappears once again, like that. End of the turn, Ancient One does a 7. Void Form again, so it's now initiative 7. Okay. So that's the end of that. So end of the start of the next turn, if there are fewer tentacles in play than the heroes, there are. Roll a d6. You did on a 4 or more, a bunch of tentacles appears. No tentacles appear. Okay. Ancient One does nothing. There's nothing to hit. And then the Burrower appears and pushes it back again. So go that way, push it that way. There's our Burrower back on. D6, 6. Another 6 hits then. Sorry, 6 wounds. So that is getting real close now. That is, I think that is 82. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 82 out of 85. Okay, end of the turn. A Master of Reality does 11. Summon minions, draw a world card and a low threat from that world. Right, we'll say this could have happened a bit earlier to save it, but I think it's a bit too late. But there are going to be a bunch of helpers. The helpers are going to be, so here you go, using these for the canyons. Bloody hell. Was not expecting that. 1 Hell Cannon and 3 Lost Army. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? So, Hell Cannons and Lost Army. Need to get those out. Hell Cannon. There you go, there's the Hell Cannon. And Lost Army. Oops, there you go, Lost Army. Very low for it from the. They're ambushed. Okay, so they've got ambush. Alright. Alright, just get them out. So here are your 2 sort of posed, 2 poses, your Lost Army. Now, there you go. Just trying to spin them around. There you go, these 2, so we've got 3 of those, and we've got a Hell Cannon. Okay. There we go. There's a Hell Cannon. Right. Okay, so they both. Oh, so they both have ranged fire. So these guys start in formation. I guess as far, I mean, can't really get too far away, but there you go. They start in formation all together. And just put the cannon. Oh yeah, you know, let's let you see it. Let's put it there. There's nowhere to put it that's not in contact with the virus. Let's put it there. So we've got a cannon, Lost Army. Right, so that was the end of the turn. Start of the turn, do we get some tentacles? I think if we're being fair, we should treat these as allies the same way we did as the tentacles. But no, anyway, never mind. So do we get any tentacles? We don't. It's a 1. So no new tentacles. Right. Initiative. Who's going to have the highest initiative? It's going to be the Ancient One. So it's just going to wail on the Burrower. 5 dice attack. 2 hits. So 2 wounds. we get rid of those, step up to a 5. Okay. Then it's going to be the Lost Army. So they have, each of them has shots equal to the number of Lost Army soldiers in line of sight to the target. Which is okay, which is going to be 3. But they've only got a damage of 2, so they're not going to do anything. So they're going to have a lot of shots that do nothing. They just bounce off the Burrower. Next is going to be the Hell Cannon, because it's on ambush. If there are adjacent heroes, it fires Grape Shot, doing D6 wounds, ignoring defense to each of them. Oh, as far as I can. Shots is... well, I presume 1. Let's read that again. If there are adjacent heroes, fires Grape Shot, doing D6 wounds, ignoring defense to each of them. Okay, yeah, it's not a shot. It's not. You don't roll to hit for that then, by the looks of it. Huh. So yeah, it just does D6 damage to the Burrower, ignoring defense. So that's 5, which is the most its endurance will let it take anyway. That puts it up to 21. The Burrower then has a go. Rolls 2d6. Is 6. It regenerates. The Burrower and all tentacles immediately heal peril dice wounds and roll again on this chart. So it heals 4. And then we go again. Is 5. It burrows. So it's disappeared. End of the turn. We go for the Ancient One. What is the Ancient One going to get? Oops. Lost the dice. We'll pick that up later. The Ancient One, Master of Reality, is summon minions. Another set of minions appear. This time around. I'm sure I've shuffled these. Well, I can't do it because I don't have another Hell Cannon. So let's go for the next one. What's the next one? The next one is D3+1 Black Fang Tribe. So that is going to be 4 Black Fang Tribe appear. Okay, here's your Black Fang Tribes. 4 thereof. I guess just appeared. Doesn't particularly matter. Nobody for them to hit at the moment. 4 Black Fang Tribe appears. Let's get there. And I think suddenly the tide has really turned in the Ancient One's favour here. It's perilously close to death. It's only got 3 wounds. It does have a possibility to regenerate, but it's really close to death. But if it doesn't take those wounds soon, all those mobs are just going to tear the Burrower apart. So there you go, there's the Black Fang Tribe. They go on ludicrous. Oh yes, I need to give them some Darkstone. They have 11 Darkstone to play with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right. Okay, I mean they're not going to do any damage because they've only got damage free. That should be ablative. Right. So that was the end of the turn. Start of the turn. Do we get any more? Do we get any more tentacles? We do. We get D3+1. We get. So that's 3. We get 3 tentacles. Well, the Ancient One may now have a problem if those tentacles aren't dealt with. Okay. Right, so I have to work through in initiative order. So the first is Black Fang Tribes. I guess they would move to attack the tentacles. They don't attack. Their damage is only 3, so they can't damage the tentacles. The tentacles got a defense of 3, so they just swing and miss. The Lost Army then go. Oh, so there's an extra one there. Let's move that one in. The Lost Army then go. They shoot. They can't do anything, so they basically swing and miss. Oh no, they haven't got ambush. They haven't got ambush. So it's the tentacles that go first. They'll go for the ancient one. So 3, so that's 9. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, 9 attacks versus the ancient one. I think that's a goner, isn't it? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus those. So those are that's 12. Each of those is well, that's 16 damage on damage. Right, that's the ancient one dead. Well, must admit, that was a surprise to me. I think would have been an entirely different game, perhaps, if the ancient one had summoned its sort of minions earlier, to suck up some of it. Maybe, I don't know. But as it is, first victory to the Burrower that wasn't even on the table at the time. There we go. So a win for the old Grabby. And the ancient one takes another loss. Poor old ancient one. So everyone's got a win so far. Right, so that's this week. I'm going to do a slight tease. Next week I've decided we're going to have the Battle of the Undefeated. So next week is going to be Shoryu, the Dragon King, versus Belial, the last Lord of Cinder. But for the moment, that's it.